Ideation Canada, ABA Bank, and LSI to set this up. Thank you all for joining. So just a quick agenda for this workshop. I'll do like a quick intro about who I am, where I'm from, what do I do, why am I here, and then we'll get down to business. We would be talking about how to actually start a business in 3 weeks, and we'll go each week, and it'll be fairly simple. If you have any questions, please ask. This session is being recorded. You can see it again. There are a lot of canvases and a lot of tools which I mentioned here, and that would be shared with you guys as well. So don't worry about it. You won't be missing out to anything. We would be then talking about 6 reasons why businesses fail. And then we would be talking about some key tools for students to keep in mind to prep themselves. And then hopefully by 5 p.m.-ish, we would have the honor of listening to the keynote speaker, who is a project manager at UNDP, and he works very closely with the incubation program recently launched in Cambodia. So you will get to hear his side of the story as well. So an introduction, I hold multiple positions. Currently, I am a junior policy officer with UNHCR in Canada, and also a junior professional consultant with UNAC, that's the Canadian version. But before that, I worked in the social entrepreneurship space, where I started my own business in Portugal. It was part of the European Innovation Academy, and the name of my startup was Mascot. And I'll be using that as an example to show you what worked for me, where did I succeed, where did I fail, things I learned, and you could avoid doing the same mistakes that I did. So like I said, please feel free to have any questions. I worked as a consultant for a lot of social innovation hubs in Canada and in Europe. And then I finally got the opportunity to have a financial literacy workshop program in Cambodia. So yeah, very excited for this. This is my contact information. So if you ever need help in personal financial management or the tools I will be providing you, if you fill that out and you need feedback, so just feel free to send me an email. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible and help you wherever I can. So yeah, like I said, I would be using my own startup as an example. Obviously wherever applicable, I will be showing you the examples of the things I actually did behind the scenes, and I used it for investors. So this was my team. As you can see, it was a very intercontinental, transnational team. We had people from all over the world who were part of this team. And basically my startup worked in California and Los Angeles area. So it was a chat bot for first year university students, especially international students and students from different provinces who come to Los Angeles and study. So research showed that because they don't have friends and family, so they have a high depression rate, they have a high dropout rate, and they're not able to integrate into the society, into the new universities. So we created this application, like this chatbot kind of application, which would give them an anonymous way of expressing, of seeking therapy, of seeking events to go, so that they're able to find people of their own interest and not feel depressed. So that was the whole startup. And it was a very complex idea, but we came up with it sitting in a cafe in one of the Portuguese beaches with sticky notes, papers, and pen. And we kind of took after what Amazon or what Facebook or Airbnb did. They came up with their amazing billion-dollar ideas on a napkin paper, on a train ride, on a car ride. So this is to say that you don't need to invest in expensive gadgets or tools to come up with ideas. This is the only phase in the entire financial planning, entire startup planning, where you don't need to spend money. This is free. This is your own creativity. So please take as much benefit as you can. Be free, be wild with it completely. So these are like actual preliminary research that we were doing. And this is what we showed to investors as well. Like, this was our process. So I'll be sharing quite a bit of that as well. So keeping that in mind, how do you actually start a business in 3 weeks? So the first and the foremost is that you make a team. It is obviously the first step you make, the most common sense, but it is the most difficult step to take. And why is that? Because team formation starts with you. So understand who you are. What do you do? Objectively, try to assess yourself, your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, especially your weaknesses. Don't be afraid to say, oh, that I'm weak at this, or I don't know how to do this. For example, I don't know how to do graphic designing, or I don't know how to do sales. I don't know how to talk to customers. It's okay, accept that, so that the people who would be on your team will make up for that weaknesses. So hire people who are doers, who would take action. Think long term. Your startup or small business will not always be small. It will become big. You will grow mature. Your team will grow mature. So hire people who are compatible at all stages of startup. Startup just means the initial few years, few months, and then your business becomes more mature and more growing. So keep that in mind. That's why I have people who would be there for long term. Take people who would be listening to customers, who just don't ignore customers essentially, and take people who you have a personality compatibility with, which goes beyond skills. For example, like I said, if you don't know any skills, you can learn it. You can learn it from one another. You can go online. There's free education, free tools. You can learn skills, but you cannot learn how to be friends with someone. It's something which is just comes naturally. So keep that in mind, and avoid a homogenous team. Don't keep people who all think alike. Like I showed you the picture, we all were coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different countries. So we brought in a lot of diversity. That can be both good and bad. Don't bring extreme diversity that you can never agree on anything, but also don't all be alike that you don't have different opinions. So you have to find a balance between the extreme versions of everything. So going forward, the next step would be ideation. A good idea stands somewhere between imitation and innovation. So imitation is basically copy paste. Anyone can open a coffee shop. Sorry, anyone can open a coffee shop. Anyone can open another beauty salon. It's not a business. It's not a startup. It's just a copy paste. So look at market as a, I'm sure you must have heard of it. If you look at the market as a pie, the more number of people there are, the less share of a pie you will get. So if you go into something which is just a copy paste, you will not be able to generate enough income. But if, on the other hand, if you go too innovative, that there's no market for it yet, there's no problem, there's no solution, that's also not good. So successful startups or successful businesses are somewhere in the middle, where you learn from existing competition, existing business models, but also get innovation in your product, in your process, in your marketing. So for example, when Amazon started 10 years ago, it started as an online bookshop. So it did not open another bookstore like there were so many out there in the United States. It opened an online version of it so that they don't have to do inventory of books, and they could just do one off according to whoever was ordering it. So that just kind of gives you an example of how you could have a very traditional business but be innovative in different phases of it. So that's something you should keep in mind when you're talking about idea. And the next phase that you go to is problem solution fit. So basically you ask 5 questions. You ask question as an entrepreneur, that what am I selling? Who am I doing this for? Where should I be doing this? When should I be doing this? And why should I be doing this? But when you reverse this, you should also ask these questions as a customer. So be in the shoes of your customer and think that as a customer, what choices do I have? Who are the sellers out there? I need to know that. Where can I buy stuff? Is it online? Is it in person? Or is it a hybrid? And then when should I buy this? In the sense, can I make the decision instantly, go to a shop and buy it? Or do I need to do more research? For example, a car. I can't just go to a store and buy a car. I have to do a lot of research. I have to think about so many things. So it's a long-term purchase versus a short-term purchase. You have to keep that in mind. And then the last question, why do I even need to buy something? Will it solve my problem, or what is the problem in the first place? So approach these 5 questions as a seller, but also as a buyer, and that will give you a good idea about problem solution fit. And an example of that is through this exercise. It's called a problem evaluation canvas. And I would be sending all these canvases to you after this workshop in an email. There are multiple documents. You can fill them out. You can send it to me for feedback. I can totally help you with it. So for example, let's start out, have a business of our own. Say we create a business in Phnom Penh about mental health in young people in big cities. So when you would be evaluating whether it's a problem or not, you would think, okay, so what is the problem a customer might be facing? Oh, a customer might be having depression issues. He or she might be feeling lonely or sad. Is this problem even real, or is it just a passion? We think it's real because so many number of people are avoiding classes, so many number of people are taking prescription drugs, so many number of people are feeling depressed and seeking therapy or counseling sessions. So we think, yes, it is a big enough problem which needs solving. And how often does that happen? Are we assuming that all young people have mental health problems? Are we assuming nobody has and it's just a myth? So we need to research that. And then you score each of these problems and then think that whether you should be approaching that problem in the first place or not. So after you've done this problem evaluation, you do something called a market canvas. I know there's a lot of terms out here. There are a lot of difficult jargons out here, but these are very easy to fill, very easy to understand, and we could go through them together. So like I said, my startup was for students in US, and we were looking at helping international students in their first year university. So if you look at this, my market name, let's look at market number 2. I had 3 choices for myself. I wanted to look at China, I wanted to look at Canada, and US as well, just to compare. So if you take US, I said my TAM, which is the complete available market for me. So there are 22 million students in the whole of the country. So that's the huge market I'm looking at. Out of that, how many people can I actually give my service to? Like I said, out of all the students, I was focusing on first year students only. So from 22 million, that becomes only 20 million or lesser. And then how many people can I actually afford to send it to? Like afford for those students to actually use these apps. So that's like about 700,000 students in a specific university. So for example, if we use this in Cambodian context, we would say there are 5 million students total, but then I would be giving my services to only 1 million students, out of which I would be giving just the services to just 3rd, 4th year students at LSI. So just that's 100 of students. So that's how you create a funnel shape to show how many people are there and who's your target market. And then you talk about what are the barriers. Is the government the barrier? Is the culture a barrier? Language, what technology, what kind of things are stopping you from actually having this startup to be a success? And then you would also, on the other hand, talk about what are the opportunities. The opportunities are that there's a rise in education and awareness. Young people are knowing about mental health awareness more. They're talking about it more. So there's an opportunity to engage them. So in conclusion, we think the barriers are less and opportunities are more. So we're going for this market. So that's how you justify solving a problem and justify going into a certain market. So you could be doing this for Phnom Penh and Siem Reap and see which one of them would be more beneficial for you or which one of them would be less beneficial for you. So that's how you would assess it. And then we would go to second week. The second week would kind of focus on what we call customer canvas. You understand your customer. This is a very basic thing. You talk to people, you interview them, you observe them, you have group interviews, and you see what the gender is, what their occupation is, what do they do for a living, the basic information. Then you see their journey. You see if they're having a problem, how do they solve it? How do they behave? Is that a big problem? What makes them seek a solution? You basically jot down their complete journey. So if I am a student in LSI Business School, if I'm having mental health problems, what do? I'm going online, I'm checking with my friends and saying, do you have any recommendation for therapy sessions in Phnom Penh? If that doesn't work, I go online, check for anonymous groups. If that doesn't work, I just check out YouTube videos to feel a little better. So this is how I am solving my problem, and that's what you would be writing in this canvas. That if a customer is having problem, how are they solving it? And if they're not able to solve it, or if it's taking too long to solve it, that is where you come in with your startup, essentially, to either shorten the process or actually give them a solution to do something about it. And the next stage is prototyping or business model. So this is where, when you have the idea, you know who you're targeting, now you would actually create a business model. And this is what we call a lean canvas. Again, this would be sent to you. You can assess it. You can try to fill it out. I'll give you an example of how me and my team did it. So we identified what the problem was. Problem was new students did not orient better into the US system. They had lack of information. They had lack of learning. This was a solution. This was essentially our startup business. And this was a unique value proposition in the sense what made us different from an actual conventional therapy session. So why would a student go to my app and not go seek therapy? So this is the reason why they would not do that. And then I would check out, these are my customer segments. These are the kind of students I would be looking at. These are the channels by which I would approach them. These are the key metrics that I would be looking at to assess whether I'm doing a good job or if I'm failing. These are my cost structure, and this is how I would be earning my revenue. So basically, this entire lean canvas talks about week 1, week 2, and week 3 all together. So this is something you need to be doing at the end of every week, because it'll change. And it should change. If it's not changing, there's something wrong you're doing. It needs to change after every week, after every phase. So keep that in mind as well. So moving forward from after you've done lean canvas here, you would move to week 3. That's a financial models. And when you're looking at financial models or financial planning, there are a few things you should definitely be looking at is the initial capital investment. Who's going to put money initially? So no investors, no bank, nobody will give you money if you cannot put money on yourself, if you don't trust yourself enough to put money or gamble that money on yourself. Nobody else will do it. So make sure that you account for this initial capital investment. And then also make sure, how are you going to split money or equity among your partners? Is it going to be 50-50? If all 4 of us are there, is it going to be 25% share into the company? Or if I'm bringing more and somebody else is bringing less expertise, are we going to split it accordingly? How does that work? So have this clear, because this becomes a reason for fights all the time. And then also have an exit strategy. Now, not all businesses are meant to grow and become the next Amazon. If you do succeed in making a business, small business or a startup, technology or not, there might be organizations out there who are ready to buy you. And when they buy your organization, you should have an exit valuation. That this is how much I think my startup is worth. My startup is worth 50,000 US dollars. So if you want us to not be in the market anymore, you can buy us for $50,000. And this is the reason why we think we are worth $50,000. So in the last few years, I worked for a major investment company in Canada, and we had a specific department called FinTech Evaluation Department. So basically what that department did is to evaluate all the new startups and tech startups in Canada, all across Canada. And if they thought that these people are going to be competition in the future, we will just buy them. And the first question you ask them, how much money do you want if you want to buy you? So for example, how Microsoft is buying TikTok in US, that's an example. Because they are growing so big, Microsoft is like, we want to buy you. Same way Facebook bought WhatsApp. That's how they made sure that competition is not there. So have this ready all the time, because you never know. And it's okay, there's a misconception that people think that we might fail. This means failure. No, this actually means success, that you're strong enough, big enough in the market that someone wants to buy you. Great. And then I'm sure you guys are studying a lot about finance and economics in your classes, and you read about so many ratios. My personal experiences with investors have told me that there's 4 or 5 major ratios that they look out for 100%, and you should have this in mind. So one of them is called the burn rate, which is basically telling you how fast you're spending money. And the rate should never be 0 or negative. If it's negative, that means you're spending way more than you can afford to. So burn rate is something that you should be keeping in mind. For example, month A, you spend about $500 on your startup. Month B, you spend about $1,500. So when you do this calculation, your rate is 2%, which is a good thing. But if that's reversed, it's negative 0.67%, which is a bad thing. That means you're spending way more than you can afford to. So keep that in mind. The other thing is called activation rate. And this is helpful only if you have a tech-based or a web-based startup. So this essentially shows your traffic generation. It's good if you're looking at sponsorship, if you're looking at advertisements, if you're looking at those avenues for creating money, then you need to justify that I'm able to generate this much of traffic per day, per month. And this previous rate ties up to this rate in the sense that it makes sure that it accounts for unique users every day, every month. So I can't cheat in it. I cannot go to a customer or an investor and say, look, my tech-based company is so successful. There's so many million views. But if I'm that one person, I'm going on my website every day, that's cheating. And this is what this ratio avoids doing. Even if I go a million times every month just to raise traffic of my website, it would just count me as one. Every month, it'll just count me as one, not multiple times. So this is a very good way for investors to know how much you are able to generate in terms of web-based money and web-based traffic. This is an extremely important one. And it basically says that how many customers are you losing for a given period of time. Customers, you can lose customers because they're not making purchases again and again. They unsubscribe to your services, things like that. This needs to exist in your early phases of startup. So if it doesn't exist, that means there's something wrong. Because if this does exist, that means you're able to understand your target group much better. Your weaknesses, if you're able to expose your weaknesses in the early stages of startup, does not mean that you're failing. It just means you have done an amazing job, that you caught it early enough to change it, to pivot it. So make sure that this is something you are able to tell very candidly, very openly to your investors, to your mentors, to your friends and family as well, that my churn rate is high. And it's high because I think I am not targeting the right customers. It's high because I think I don't have the right product. I might have to go back to my pen and paper and make changes accordingly. So don't be afraid of this. If this is a high number, it's completely fine. And this is, again, a very important ratio to have, or not exactly ratio. If you actually calculate it, it would be a dollar amount. It basically means how much money are you spending in terms of marketing to get each new customer. So for example, the eGets or Express Panda, I think it's called, the food delivery services, they could say we are spending about $1.50 to get every new customer on our platform. And that would be just the marketing side of it. Because in the startup area, in the first few months or the first few weeks, your marketing is the biggest tool you would have. Because initially, startup was a new thing, but now everybody wants to have a new startup. Everybody wants to have a new business. So to not get lost in the crowd, you would have to amplify your voice. And how do you do that? Marketing. So this would mean that I'm spending $10 per customer in my marketing, but I'm able to generate only $2 per customer. So that means it's not a right ratio to have. So again, a very good ratio to keep in mind. So once you've done finances, once you've done customer, once you've looked at the market, you have got your team together, then the last thing you do is find a good mentor. You find networking and pitching opportunities. And it's okay if you don't get money. I went to 15 different pitches before I got someone to invest money in mine. So each time you fail, you get better the next time. So it's completely okay if a mentor says your idea is horrible, you should not do this. Understand what they're trying to say and then build on it. But before you do that, before you meet any one of them, you should do two things, most importantly. So first thing is to rate your own startup objectively. And this is what we used to do. There are 7 ways to rate your startup. And I would go over them very, very quickly. If you have any questions, we can come back to this slide, or I can give you an exact explanation of each one of them in the email later on as well. So this basically says how good of an idea that I have that I can be protected from my competition. I might have an idea which is like super unique, it's patented, I have no issues of my customers copying me. The second is scalability. So even though I have my startup for just the LSI Business School, the idea is good enough that I can go to other universities, other cities, other countries, other continents. I can do that eventually. So I can rank myself in this point somewhere based on my idea right now. The next one is others who do the work. How much of it do I have to do on my own? How much of it others have to do it? How much of it do I have to hire a graphic designer from India or a marketing person from Philippines? Can I do all of that on my own? Do I need to export it somewhere? So this tells you how much of that would be in terms of money, how much you would be spending in terms of your team. Then the next these 3 are like related to cost and revenue. And these are also very important, but you can always skip them and just focus on first one, which is saying, what's the switching cost? So as an example, if I buy an Apple product and if I want to change into Samsung, how easily can I do that? Turns out I can't do that very easily because Apple makes sure that none of my stuff, none of my work is compatible with Samsung operating system. Apple makes sure that I have insurance and subscription services that I cannot cancel easily. So they make it hard for me to move away from Apple. And the harder it is for a customer to move away, the chances are they'll stay with you longer. The chances are they'll continue with you longer. They'll justify staying with you longer. So from a customer's point of view, it is bad. But from an entrepreneurial point of view, it's good. If you can keep them with you, if you can make it hard for them to leave, the longer they'll stay with you. So do keep that in mind as well. So once you have like done this scaling system, you can summarize your pitch. And if you can summarize your pitch in this one little document, that means it's a good thing to do. If you can do one line for your problem, your solution, who your customer is, what's your advantage, what other competitions don't have. If you can do these 5 in like one line, what we call an elevator pitch, if you can do that in just a couple minutes, that means you've understood every dimension of your own business. And this is not to say that this is only for high tech kind of businesses. No, it's even if you want to open a small business, a family business, this is true for all types of businesses. This is even true for your project. If you're doing an assignment for your project, this is true in there. If you're doing financial planning or next major purchases, a change in life decision, you're getting married, you want to buy a house. If you can summarize your decision like this, it's very, very helpful. And this is something which was shown to me in January, and I think you guys should totally take advantage of it. In Phnom Penh alone, there are like 13 co-working spaces, 17 innovation hubs, and 34 cultural venues for inspiration. So take advantage of it. For example, in Edmonton, where I am right now in Canada, I did not know those things existed. It's only when I left the city, I realized there's so many cool things out there that I could have taken advantage of. So go out there, talk to people, even if they dismiss your idea, they hate your idea, they think it's not worth it, you're wasting your time, whatever. Go out there, talk to people, talk to investors, mentors, other peers, the competition, customers. Go ahead, experience that, because that's going to make your own journey of having a startup or having a business more rich, that you can go and talk to other people about it. But most importantly, you need to have passion about doing this. Obviously, certain level of stress is good. It makes you more productive. But if it's hurting you, it's hurting your family, your loved ones, then considering not doing it. If you don't enjoy the process, like I said, there was 3 weeks which I showed you, which were really heavily packed. So if you're not enjoying that heavily packed process, if you're not enjoying failing, getting back again, pivoting, if you're not enjoying that, it's okay. It's maybe not for you. It's okay to move on. And it's also important to be innovative. Like I said, cut copy paste businesses don't work. If you're going to be cut copy paste, you're always going to remain a small player in the pie. If you want to grow, you have to be innovative in some space. Again, this does not mean expensive technology or some new artificial intelligence, robotics. No, this does not mean that. It could mean innovation in how you approach, how you sell, how you market, who you target. So this are new topics that you get to attention in the market, which people thought they didn't have a problem with. So innovation could be different things. It doesn't always have to be very high techy things, which we don't really understand. And financial planning. And I would talk about this a little bit more in detail about why this is the most important thing. You could be very passionate and happy-go-lucky, you have the perfect team, but if you don't know how to handle your finances personally, you cannot handle your startup's finance. So that's also a very important thing to have. So like I said, there's so many problems out there, and there's so many opportunities out there that you don't need to have a cut, copy, paste kind of a business. There's poverty, there's illiteracy, there are sanitation and water issues, not only in Cambodia, but all over the world. So there is no dearth of problems out there in the world. So there are no dearth of solutions either. So don't waste your time and energy in just copying someone else's business that way. But given all of that amazing things, there are still 90% of businesses which fail. And even though they've done all 3 weeks of those things I told you, they filled all the canvases, they got money, investors trusted them, they could still fail. And there's 6 major reasons why they would fail and what you should be keeping in mind about that. First is you did not listen to your customers. You assumed things, you did not challenge your assumptions about them, and the canvases you filled out still did not help you in understanding your customer. So if customer doesn't want it, you fail, no matter how much work you put into it. So do understand what your customer wants. Keep asking them, keep annoying them. It's okay to annoy your customers than to not annoying them and give them a wrong product. Second, you run out of cash. 30% of businesses fail because they don't do good financial management. So if something like COVID happens, what do? There were businesses in Cambodia, in Canada, which were not working. They were not operating for 2 to 3 months. How did they? Some of them failed, some of them went bankrupt, and some of them did not. Some of them really innovated. So what did they do? Did they keep some cash aside? Did they have any risk mitigation strategies? What happened about emergencies like this? It doesn't have to be COVID, but even personal emergencies. How do you account for that to make sure that you don't run out of cash? And third, your team sucks. If it's bad, if you don't have compatibility, if you don't have the right kind of motivation, you will not be together. And that if you're not together, your team will fail. And do keep this in mind. Money as a motivation is not wrong at all. It's actually a very good thing. But then you have to be aware that other people on your team have the same motivation. It can be, I cannot have a social motivation and want to do charity, and my partner wants to have money. Those are two opposite kind of things, and they don't belong on one team. Now, this is where my startup failed. We got $150,000 in initial seed investment. We had an angel investor ready to fund us. Everything was perfect, but our team was not on the same level. There were people in my team who wanted to get married, focus on their baby. There are others who wanted to do their PhD. There are others who wanted the startup to become more money oriented. I wanted the startup to become more mental health awareness kind of thing. So we all wanted different things from life and with the startup itself. So that's where I my startup failed. And you should be keeping this in mind. And I mentioned that in the first slide itself, that this is the most difficult thing to do. Everything else you can go back, money, time, resources, everything can be compensated for. But if a team is bad, it's bad. It just doesn't go back. It mostly, in most cases, it results in the startup dissolving. And then the next one is ignored customers. This ties to reason number one. You don't listen to your customer. You think you've put in enough time, money, and resources. You don't want to change it. You just close your ears, like the person in this slide. Just close your ears. You don't listen to what the customers are saying. You will end up with bad marketing, unfriendly products, not right pricing and cost system. You would lose to your competition because they listened and you did not. And then there's also focus. If there are too many choices, too many advices, too many investors out there, they will distract you. And the next one is so rigid. Like if you stay too focused or if you're too distracted, both, fifth and sixth, they both are equally bad. And you have to find a balance in life, in startup, in your careers, in your personal life. You have to find a balance between having choices, but also staying focused at the same time. It's not an easy thing to do. You learn as you grow. So do keep that in mind when you are doing a startup. That's why you have mentors who are themselves serial entrepreneurs. They have been in this position. They can help you with it. That's why you have investors who will keep you accountable. They have put their money in it. They don't want you to be rigid. They don't want you to be too distracted. They would keep you accountable. They will keep you on track. So listen to those mentors, those professors, those investors, and see what they're saying. So the secret sauce of not failing from all those 6 reasons is to essentially listen and adapt. Listen to, like I said, listen to people, most importantly to your customers and to your mentors. And don't be afraid to adapt. You're small enough to keep changing as soon as possible. You're not $1 million company. You don't have rigid choices. You can change if things are not working for you. But given that, to prepare for all of these things, money comes into question every time. And like I said, if you cannot plan for your own personal finances, you will never be able to finance for your own startup. So it starts with you, and then it starts for your company. So certain things that you need to keep in mind given the COVID situation. Obviously, I'm glad Cambodia is in a much better situation than Canada, where, for example, we have 1,000 cases every day. It's getting really bad. Businesses are shutting down. People are going out of job. People are scared about the future job perspective. So what to do? So like, these are the kind of needs that you should be looking out for. You should always start with your basic needs. What's your debt? How much you're earning? Protect yourself, protect your family. And then once you have accounted for all that, you have money for all that, then you go to the next step where you're looking at, okay, my next major purchase, I want to start my master's. I want to buy a new house. I think something like COVID could happen again. I need to save for that. And then you go ahead and ahead in terms of more rich commitments into your future. But you start with the most basic about safety, about basic income, making sure you have food, water, shelter, healthcare ready for yourself. So basically in COVID and in future emergencies, as a personal financial planning matter, you should have certain money kept to your emergency. This is funny because when we started this financial literacy workshop in Jan, there was no COVID up till then. So we used to say, add to your emergency fund, add to your emergency fund. And there was no example to give to that. So now you have a very good global example that something like COVID can happen and you need to have something in emergency. For example, I was moved back from Cambodia to Canada in like 24 hours. And if I did not have a little bit of money here or there just to make sure that I have money to get the taxi money for my plane tickets, money to make sure I have enough PPE, or if I get COVID, for example, would I have money to buy my medication, to self-isolate in a hotel? These are the emergencies which could have happened, and I needed money to keep aside for that. So emergencies can happen to anyone. We always like to think it won't happen to us, but it can. So keep ready for that. And then based on this, you should rearrange your priorities. Is buying a new car or a new laptop really your biggest priority right now if COVID kind of situation is happening. Maybe not. Maybe your priority is your everyday budget, your rent, your personal finances. You want to have a startup that should be here. And new gadgets could take a little bit back. And then understand, based on this, understand how your goals have changed, understand that your future prospects have changed, if not, how to do that. And you do that by these two things. It's called goal setting and fear setting. So have goals, see how you can do it, and when to do it. But also at the same time, simultaneously do a fear setting. Is like, what if this happens? How can I prevent it? And if I'm not able to prevent it, what can I do? So for example, what if I get COVID and I lose my job? Can I prevent it? Yeah, I can prevent it by having enough emergency funds. But if that doesn't happen, I run out of my emergency funds, I still get COVID, I still lose my job, what do I do then? So have an option here to make sure you have the worst case scenario taken care of and your highest hopes and ambitions taken care of. So have the best and the worst ready. So hopefully you will land somewhere in between. And that's nice. These things are more abstract, more high level thinking. But if you want to get down to actually budgeting, like create something simple. Start with most important categories. Every month start with 0. It doesn't matter if you have debt or if you went on negative. Don't carry forward that into the next month. If you're planning to have a startup, you want to have initial $15,000 investment in your startup initially on your own. You want to account for that. So every month, prioritize accordingly, track your progress and failures, see where you can make changes. And if you're not able to do that month, leave it. Just let it be. Start with your own thing again. And there's some really good books you can read. I've read only a couple of them. I'm quite slow in reading that way. So if you have more ideas about podcasts, please do that. I know reading can be very, very, very painful. So that's completely okay. Watch YouTube videos too. There's some amazing YouTube videos out there if you like animations and all those kind of things. There are a lot of movies out there which account for young people starting their own businesses against all odds. See how their financial planning is going on. Look at that very critically. So you don't always have to read books, don't worry. So yeah, any questions, concerns, but given the time, you can write your questions and concerns over the chat. I know it's a small group, but we have the honor of actually our keynote speaker being here. So I would love to give the mic to him.
Okay, thank you so much, George. Yes, a very good presentation about this business startup and the planning, the financial planning, and everything. The rat show that we need to, I mean, to prevent for our business. Yeah. Okay. Now Mr. Virya is here on the mic. Please. Yeah, Mr. Virya, please.
Thanks.
Well,
Sawatana and Sichel. Nice to meet you again here.
Yeah.
And good afternoon, everyone. I think we have very small group. That's good to go. So thanks again, UNAC, LSI, and ABA for organizing this workshop. I think it's very useful for young people to learn and get useful information about being an entrepreneur. So because I'm not a good speaker, so I try to make my talk very short, and I have only 3 points to share with all of you this afternoon. So so at least you know that I have only 3 points to share, and it might last around less than 20 minutes. Can I share my slide? Yep.
Sure, Bong Virya,
Okay.
please.
Yep. Thanks. So my 3 point is basically very short and just picture. So I would like to share with all of you a bit about my story, because I think it's also important to know where we start and also where we want to go. So basically, I'm from Kampong Speu, and a farmer by background. My mom and dad were farmers, and I studied economics in Phnom Penh, and went on to graduate in a pure degree in public policy, public administration in Australia. So after my study, I worked for a few, I think I worked for various organizations, both NGO and private sector, and the UN as well. So I went from one sector to another. I worked for human rights development, work for public administration reforms, and work at a bank, with a UN agency. And before I worked for UNDP, I also spent some time with Adidas Sourcing, which is a global companies producing garments and sport products across the world. So and now I end up with UNDP and working on youth employment and in the context of Industry 4.0 and digital economy. So that's about briefly about myself, and I really love my job, and actually it interesting to have this kind of job, because you spend most of your time thinking about solving a social problem, but at the same time, it's also important to think the other way. How can you make bigger impacts? So I decided to started my own business last year. I think I want to spend my weekend on something meaningful, so we decided to start. So I started a barber business a year ago. I think it's also important to share with you about a second point that I'm going to share with you is about the work we are working here in UNDP. Actually, we are trying to address youth employment issue and youth skill development in the context of new structure of economy. The economy become more digitalized, more technology in the production process, in the service. You can see a lot of platform economic activity growing in the country for the last few years, and you can see Grab, Pass Up, Tada, or food delivery. So it's something that emerging in the country, and it's growing very quickly in the country. So, and we think that entrepreneurship is a solution for young people. I think we provide option both skill and to get a job, but also it is important to be to create opportunity for young people being as an entrepreneur, and create job for other people, other young people in the country. So one of the programs that we run in the country is Blue Tribe. So this program is quite new in the country. We provide intensive support to young people who want to start their business, to realize the idea, and we provide really like intensive support in terms of mentorship, training, mentorship, and advisory, and also some capital for starting their business. So, and it's just an example of how support are available in the country for young people who want to start a business. I personally encourage you, if you really have a good business idea and you want to see your idea grow into a business, grow into a real product in the market, I encourage you to start now and looking for support in the ecosystem. We got many support from NGO development sector that seek to address employment issue. we also get support from private sector company who really interested to see different business ideas and opportunity to make investment, and also the support from the government itself is growing in terms of networking, resources, training, and also funding if you have a really a good business idea. So I think start now and looking for support. There's many support out there. We're waiting for talent to start a business. And that's about Blue Tribe, but also we have a few other business incubation program that we are running now. So feel free to let me know or ask me if you want to know to get more information and how to get support. Feel free to get me know. For the interest of time, let's move to the last point that I would like to share to align with the topic today, starting business. So I try not to go into a theory or rule for doing business. So I just share with you my own story, how we start a business. And because I think Sijal already show you very beautiful and step-by-step to start a business in terms of team, idea, market validation, or financial planning and financial projection, stuff like that. So it's very good information that you guys can read and go through and get familiar with those concepts. So now I just tell why we come up with this business idea, but just to make sure that we are nowhere close to success or a profitable business yet, but we hope we will make it happen in the future. So basically, I would like to tell you that simple barbershop is like operate a number of shops in the country. It is like a chain of barbershops, and we started I think 11 months ago. And when we started, it was I think funny and also interesting. What we have before we start the business is we have only divisions. For your information, we have 3 or 4 co-founders when we started the business. So we just have the same vision and common interest, and we believe that we are able to upgrade the barber industry in the country, and also using tech and technology and to scale the industry. And also we believe that by changing this industry, there will be great social impact on the wage, the living condition, the job, and professionalism of barbers in the country. So by having that belief and vision, we just started, and we have nothing else. And yes, of course, we have small capital to start the business. So so we use our own money to start the business. But you know what? We have many things that we don't have. One thing is we don't have knowledge of the industry. We study at the same school. We work with different organization and company, completely different industries. I work on development, public policies. The other friend work on finance, and the other one on tax company, and the other one is basically a government official who really interested to use his unused skill from school. So we don't have barbering skill. We don't have and one more thing, we never work together as a team. There's no trust at all, I think, from the industry player, from the barbers. We learned this because when we started the business, no barbers want to join us and offer the service at the shop. So it was very hard, and we would have given up if we had not changed our solution to that. And we also don't have times. You start a business, you don't have time. So because we work full time, so it's a big challenge, and we managed to use our weekend to think about it and make plan how we can start it. And also we need to have proper legal understanding, and also like issue like co-founder agreement, equity shares, how much you invest and how much you get. That out of our mind, we don't have those ideas. But what led us to start a business was a decision to start. So four of us just started right away. We made decision and we start. So any other thing as secondary, like we think we gonna address all the challenge we gonna make. So we started and we work day and night to like address the challenge that we face, and we have to understand the size of the market, the service, the standard, the pricing level of the industry, and we need to know the design of the shop, renovations, and equipment, what kind of equipment needed in the barber shop. So all kind of information. We have no prior experience. We need to like collect and study every day, and then we come to building a IT system for the business, because we're gonna scale the business. So we could not go without proper business IT system that really help us to scale in terms of managing daily operation, HR, and also financial, especially how we collect a service fee from each shop. So we try to address that, and at the end we made some progress, but it's nowhere close to our visions and something that we call success, because we think at least 3 or 4 more years that we can see some light at the end of the tunnel, that okay, our idea is gonna work, and so that we believe that but we keep working on that ideas. I think the first 2 shops went well. We attract a lot of customer, and it gave us hopes, and we want to like go quickly, scale, and make it seen across the city. But then, as I remember, we scaled from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 9 shops. We struggled with many fronts. The COVID came, customer not coming to the shop because of the fear of spread, and also our management itself does not good enough to operate or manage the quality of the service of 9 shops, and also we struggle to manage the quality of the barbers, manage. So it was very difficult for us, and but we didn't give up. We think we are not good enough. We don't have enough good foundations, management system that really can manage a big number of shops in the country. So we have a big issue, and now we are working on that. So it is not a success story, but I just share how we started. You don't need to think a lot, like you need to have everything that you can start something, because as you start, you're gonna learn a lot. If you don't start, you just have with that one idea and you believe it's gonna work, but actually it does not happen that way. So from this experience, I could draw 3 important lessons from what we are working. So one thing is the idea. The idea is different from what works in realities. You think you gonna have a very good idea and your idea gonna work, but it doesn't happen in that way. Why? Because originally we planned like, okay, we're gonna be the first barbershop in the country in a container, yellow container place at a corner street, important street. People are gonna see it and go into the shop. But then when come to operationalize that idea, it's totally different. It come to legal issue. There's not many place available at the corner. The container itself is extremely expensive. You don't have capital to invest in that. And the electricity issues, the temperature in the container, the design is not good enough. And everything is really not the same as what we have thought that the idea gonna work. So we change the idea completely, 100% change from the first idea, and we decided to quit container barbershop, and we bought a donut shops. A donut shop was not doing well. They didn't sell well. I went there and asked. I see it is a potential place for barbershop, so I went there and asked if you would like to sell your shop to us, and you're gonna make some profit rather than you close without getting money. So we negotiate for a few days, and we get the shops for some amount of money, and then we turn the donut shop into a barber shop. And it was a risky decision because the shop, we don't have the contract for rental, and we negotiate with the shop owner first, and then we need to talk to the real estate owner about transferring the ownership. So it was risky, and we pay a lot of money. But then the first shop was a good one. We operate it. We go to barbers, and we attract a few barbers with like novice skill, and come to help us. And at the end of the day, we operate, and the first month the shop make profits. It make profits, and the second month it just double the number of customers, and it's just like, oh, we really happy, and it give us hope. We start scaling. We believe that the idea is scaling is gonna work, and because we have technology, we have people with finance, and then at the end of the day, 9 shop, we could not bear with the operation and the problem, and the COVID came in. It like we faced like a bit of struggle, but then we could manage. And that's come to the second lessons, that big vision is very important if you want to do a business. We wanted to change the industry, to improve the barber industry from a barber making like less than $200 per month. We want to increase the wage and also the price of the service. So we're looking for $500 per month at least for the industry. So we still stick to that vision. We still stick to the technology gonna have. So it helped us to, in terms of flexibility, you refer to the first idea, it didn't work. You can change your business idea, you can change how you do it, but your vision is there. So until now, we changed our model for like 4 or 5 times already, and we're still working toward our visions. And it's just very important that you have a very clear visions, and your business model can be changed, can be adjusted a lot of time, but make sure you have that big vision, big enough to be flexible, to help you believe in it. So try to make your vision clear and big enough to work on. The last lesson learned that I get from starting the business was team. Very important. It's very important. Team, uh, we face a lot of problems. We use our own money to start business. Your first idea fail, your second idea work, but your third idea fail, your fourth idea fail, your fifth idea fail. And if you don't really have a motivating team, the team that really can help you, and the team that know what they do, like a team member should be knowing what role they should play, and what they should do, and especially the attitude toward team. Like when you're busy with work, you're busy with something else, you could not dedicate enough time and resource to your startup. And at some point, people would be disappointed with our performance, but that's okay, as long as you come back and you compensate what you missed, what you didn't do, as much as you could. And we have that attitude in the team. Sometimes I'm busy, the other team come in and help me, and the other team busy, I come in and help them. So it's really helpful, and we pull together, and it helps us to move forward, I think. And until now, after a year, we changed, and the first shop we designed was not really cool like this. This is one of our shops. It was very not really a barber shop. It like just the idea of people working in development organization in government. So it's like so different from this. So we believe that we're gonna make it. So we keep fighting for it. I think that's the story I would like to share. And if you have question or want to ask something about the support in the ecosystem or even the business, I'm happy to share.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Virat, for those experience and presentation. Do you guys have any question to ask Mr. Virat or our trainer, the first trainer judge as such? I'm sorry. Okay, if any question, you feel free to ask our trainer. Um, okay, I just want to wrap up what Mr. Virat has told us. So he raised up 3 points about the experience in his startup business. The first one is the idea that we think of sometimes it doesn't work as smooth as what we have thought at all. So we barely to risk, take the risk. The second one is talking about the team. So we need to have a good team, the united one, to help us in the business. We have to understand each other, to cooperate with each other. And for the last one, the last idea is talking about the vision and the focus. So if we have a good team and we if we willing to deal with the risk, we have to focus on our vision, which we have, right, Mr. Vira? That's
Yeah, correct.
yeah. So we have to focus on what we have to do instead of blaming one of our team at all. Uh-huh. So that is very the best experience that we have from our entrepreneur here. Okay, so you guys has any further question to ask? Guys, if you have any question, please feel free.
Hello, teacher.
Okay, Chinese, yes. Do you have any question?
Yeah. I have one question that I want to ask about how to start out, and so first of all, I would like to thank that you give a lot of advice about business and why business fail. So I'm very interested in the how, what you have said at the moment, that why business well, that you mentioned in the slide that about a team sucks, I think. Yes, that is a great idea because actually I'm a second year student and I want to run a business as well. So I think that team is very important part of business when start. I think that for me, if I want to start a business, I have to hire um, a staff or something like that. But I mean, it wastes a lot of money. So I want to start a great team that we should share benefit. But those teams have to have a passion. I mean, a passion and to be patient. But my question is how to find them to start and to join our team together, because I think human resource is very important in business. So how to find them?
So,
That's all my question.
Yeah,
okay.
if I could start, that's a really good point, and that comes to the balance. Do you want your team to be there just for the startup, or do you want them to essentially invest in your vision and your idea? In a startup phase, you don't have enough money as an individual to hire someone. You would do that later on for specific marketing, specific finances, graphic designing. That comes way later on. But if you want partners, you want those partners to be invested in your idea as much as you are. And there's one of the slides which kind of shows you incubation programs and co-working spaces in Phnom Penh, which you could go to. You could actually just, and it's okay if you're the only one who has an idea, you don't have anyone else right now. You go and share your idea and see if it clicks with someone else. And I think the Blue Tribe tries to do something similar. If you don't have a team, it's fine. That's what they are here to help you with. They try to match people who at least are willing to invest in the same vision as you. So do keep that in mind, that if you want to make a team, it should not be just for the idea, but it should be for that vision. And it should be for the right motivation. Like I said, if you want to make money, good. But if your teammate wants to be a social entrepreneur, and if that's not what you want, you need to be very clear about that. Have the same motivation, invest in the same vision, and then everything else can come after that. Virat, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you cover all the important part. My suggestion is you start thinking over your business idea and start telling people what you want to do, and you will get feedbacks. And you talk to a lot of people, you know people, and then some will be really interested in your idea, and you start have deep discussion with them, and you never know, you can have a very good partner or co-founder, but you need to start sharing your idea and start it.
Yeah, don't be scared. One of the misconception is if I overshare my idea, someone will steal it. And that's not true, because nobody can see that idea the way you see it. So don't be scared to share, ask feedback like Virak suggested, go out to people, find mentors. If Blue Tribe has another cohort, go into that, go into those co-working spaces, and share your ideas as much as possible, get feedback on it, and you will find someone who will want to be a part of your idea for sure.
yeah
So don't be
yeah
scared.
I think it's very important because these people in Blue Tribe, I think now they completely changed the idea that they had before they joined the program. Because go back to my point earlier, that what you're thinking, what your idea is not really working in real world. When you apply into the market, it doesn't work at all, or it just work like 5%, 10%, and you need to be ready to change your idea all the time, adjust it from time to time, and until you see it really work, it really hit the ground and working for your business. And we were struggling to talk and have and work with these young people, that we try to open their mind up that your idea, they always chance and opportunity to change your idea. And if you stick with your original idea, we're not sure that you're gonna make some progress in the business. So at the end, everyone have the same mindset that it's okay to tweak your idea a little bit, but as long as you have big enough visions, you still go there. But to start your business, to make it work, to give you momentum, you cannot just do that. You need to start small and make progress, build momentum. You have confidence, you have hope, and it just that progress that helps you to make your business success. And I don't think, and I have no trust at all that one idea gonna work. I think it need a lot of refinement throughout the process.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay.
So go out and talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So anyone else has any other question besides Charlie? Or Charlie, you have any more question?
No, the chat. Thank you
Okay.
for your answer. Yes,
Okay.
I really love that.
Mm-hmm. So any other? So, okay. If there's no other question, we I think we could finish our workshop here. And thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for presentation, for your presentation. And Mong Chiwa, I'm really glad that you could arrange such this wonderful workshop, and I'm represent for the LSI. Hopefully that we could cooperate more for further collaboration with all of you guys again to meet you in the Phnom Penh again. Judge. We hopefully that we could,
Sure.
yeah. Uh-huh. And I saw one account, Frida. You is that the mentor or your mentor?
Uh,
Judge?
Hi,
Huh?
how are you? I am the Senior Project Officer for Flip, as I'm following up to the program manager who currently is he left. So I came here for support and to attend and see the nice meeting. Thank you so much for mentioning
Yeah,
it, Sam.
can we have a group photo? Like I'm going to yeah,
Sure.
so everyone could open the video call and I'm going to take it. I'm sure.
Give me one quick second here.
Maria, could you turn off your screen, your share screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, could you open the the I mean the video?
All right, can everybody see me?
Yeah.
All right.
Chun Li, Won Tok, Mong Jiwa, and Sinut, could you guys? Yeah. Sinut. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to take through my phone first to guys say cheese.
Hey.
Cheese. Ah, okay, I'm really glad to have this wonderful workshop. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for having us. It
Yeah.
was a great pleasure. Thank you, Barack. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you,
Thank
Tia.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
Thank
Elisa.
you.
All the best.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Have a good
Goodbye.
afternoon,
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, and have a good night.
Yeah.
And, yeah, okay, thank you. And so George, have a good morning.
Yeah. It's
That's
4
true.
a.m. finally.
Okay.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you
Take
so
care,
much. Yeah.
everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
all the questions.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.